For years, I would only release the negative associations around everything I wanted. And for years, that worked. I released trauma, I released resistance, I released anger, I released sadness, I released all of the negative associations that I had with the good things. But what didn't work is that I didn't replace it with a new story. So I have so many negative stories. You have so many negative stories. And when you don't replace those with positive stories, no matter how much you heal, no matter how much you release, no matter how much you do, you will always revert back to the old story. And it took me so long to figure this out. It took me so many years of thinking, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just be happy? Why can't I just move on? Why can't I just allow myself all the good things in life? And it was because I was only focusing on what was not right yet, what should be gone, what I wanted to release and what I wanted to heal. And that has its place. It has gotten me so far. But I still wasn't very happy. I still wasn't allowing myself all the good things. And I just didn't understand why, because I would tap for hours and hours a day. It wasn't that I would just casually do this. This was pretty much my full-time job. So why wasn't it working? Why wasn't I getting anywhere? It was because I didn't have a new story. I had a lot of old stories, a lot of negative stories, a lot of stories around why I wasn't worthy of things, why I wasn't deserving of things. And anytime I would think about the new story, think about how I was actually worthy or deserving of beautiful things, I would feel resistance. And I would see that resistance as I shouldn't go there. It made me feel uncomfortable. And that made me go back into what else do I need to release? What else do I need to let go of? Because it needs to feel comfortable. But what I didn't understand was that uncomfortable feeling was actually the edge of expansion. It was the edge of growth. It was the edge of actually allowing all the beautiful things in. So I started to search for that uncomfortable feeling, and I started to obsessively saturate. And obsessive saturation is something that I am now obsessed with, because when you have the fearful avoidant attachment style, you probably have an obsessive mind. OCD is very much correlated, not causated, but correlated with the fearful avoidant attachment style. And so chances are that you have an obsessive mind. And what I absolutely hate is that when you look up obsession, anything with obsession, the only videos you see is how to stop ruminating, how to stop obsessive thoughts, how to stop obsessing. Obsession is not a bad thing. It's actually a really wonderful thing that can bring you so many beautiful experiences, beautiful overflow and abundance, and just all the things that you want. Anybody who has ever been successful in anything was a little bit obsessive. If you look at all the inventions from past times, most of the time that was somebody that was obsessed with figuring something out, and then they had this epiphany, or they had this idea, and that changed so much. Every successful person, career-wise, money-wise, was obsessive in some form or at some level. And so obsession is good. Obsession can be so good. And we shouldn't want to not be obsessive. It's just a matter of where do you point that obsession to. And for so long, I pointed my obsession at healing and letting go and releasing what wasn't serving me. And that helped. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't the whole story. And then I pointed my obsession towards, what do I want? What stories do I want to believe about myself? What beliefs do I want to install? What kind of life do I want to lead? And as soon as I allowed myself to be obsessive with that, so much changed, because my obsessive mind and my obsessive energy finally had a place to go that was actually constructive, that was building me up, instead of just focusing on what was wrong with me and everything that had to go, including this obsessiveness that I completely assumed was from trauma, so I shouldn't have it. At one point I was like, F it. I'm not going to release this because it is also serving me. And I don't even think that it's trauma related anymore. I think just some minds are more obsessive than others, and it's a good thing. It can be a good thing if you point it at in the right direction. So I started obsessively saturating. What does that mean? I started having a clear picture of where I wanted to be, how I wanted to feel, what I wanted my life to look like. And I started saturating myself with it. So just imagine you have a piece of paper and you drip a little bit of water here and there, just drops. And then you set fire to that paper. Will it burn? Yes, it will. Now imagine that you take that same piece of paper and you saturate it with water. You put it in water and just completely let it fill up with water. You take it out of the water and now you try to set fire to it. Will it burn? No, it won't, because you saturated it. That's what I see when I think about saturating my mind, my system, my energy system with what I want. It's obsessive saturation into what you want, so much so that the old system just has no place anymore. The old story just has no place anymore. And the fear brain will fight back sometimes. It's not a walk in the park necessarily, but I for years I was missing this part, the obsessive saturation part. Just affirming what I wanted. And I would tap on what I wanted to release, and then maybe at the end of the tap I would do 2 or 3 rounds. Tapping is the emotional freedom technique, by the way. 2 or 3 rounds of what I wanted, and I thought that was enough. When I allowed myself to get obsessive with it, I did it for hours a day. Changed everything. All of a sudden, within a few days, I felt so much better. Within a few weeks, my life was completely different. So obsessive saturation is amazing. And it's the way to let your obsessive mind actually help you. And when you direct your obsession in the right way and you saturate obsessively, the sky is the absolute limit. Anybody who has created a life that is just beyond your wildest dreams was obsessive with it. Believe me, because everybody has negative beliefs. Everybody has negative experiences. And it just takes a lot to overwrite that. When you're obsessive, that helps so much. It collapses time. It makes sure that it doesn't take 10 hours or 20 hours or 10 years or 20 years. It can be done in hours or days or weeks. Obsession is a good thing. So obsessively saturating your mind with what you want, how you want to feel, is actually going to bring you so much. And for the longest time, I didn't know what I want. I just knew that I didn't want to feel the way I felt, and I didn't want what I was having at that moment. And so I thought, okay, what is the complete opposite of this? And I saturated that. And I just kept saying, I am so happy. I am so happy. I am so happy. This was when I was depressed, or kind of depressed. And it felt so uncomfortable. Everything in me was saying, this is not true. What are you talking about? This is not true. You're very unhappy. You should solve this problem. You have to be very unhappy until you solve the problem. And I just kept saturating and just didn't listen to the fear brain. Because the fear brain is, in Dutch, we have this saying that kind of means the fear is a bad advisor. It's a bad way of living to listen to the fear brain as like a guide or a counselor or an advisor. Because it won't lead you anywhere good, or anywhere beautiful or comfortable or relaxed, because it is only trying to keep you safe. It is only trying to make you feel fear so that you pay attention, so that you are on. And so I just started ignoring completely what my fear brain was saying, and just kept saturating. And within a day or two, I felt so much happier. But it wasn't until I allowed myself to be obsessive. So that is obsessive saturation. It's not a term that exists. It's just what I started calling it when I had that image of that piece of paper that was saturated with water. I just realized I have been kind of like trying to drop tiny drops of water on that paper. And the fear would be the fire. Um, and the more I saturated, so the more that piece of paper just was completely wet, the less afraid I was of the fear, because I had something stronger and I had something to point my obsession towards. And that really made all the difference. I really am curious what you gotten out of this video, and what, if you recognize this, if you recognize that obsessiveness, if you've always seen it as something that is bad, that is not good. Let's talk about it, because I'm done with that whole narrative that obsession is only bad. It's not. It really can help you create the most amazing life beyond your wildest dreams. As always, I am so happy you are here, and I will see you in the next one. Healed and Happy is a tailor-made online program where me and my team personally guide you through healing the roots of a fearful avoidant attachment style.